So, welcome to episode 32 of No Shame here at the SBG Dublin 24 Limor powered studio. In a roasting hot Dublin. It's not even funny how warm it is outside. I think it's about 99 degrees outside, isn't it? I stopped counting after 30, but I'm not, there's gingers melting up and down the country. There's ice pops rolling down the back of kids' hands. It's bedlam out there if you're not in Dublin. There's swimming pools being made out of boards and tarps. There's water fucking bans going on. If you're caught with a hose, you get €125 fine. If you rat your neighbour, you get 50 quid. Did you hear this?
You serious?
This is ridiculous. You rat your neighbour, you get 50 quid. That's going to cause war. Even when the snow is back in and the sun is gone, neighbours are still going to be fighting over the neighbour, ratting on them over the hose.
How do you prove it though? Like, do you know what I mean? How do
you know what I was thinking? I reckon they come out and they shake the end of your hose and you fucking liar, you know what I mean? Going around shaking.
Why is a bone? That's
going around, shaking all the hoses they are to see what's going on, you know what I mean? Guys, that's not a hose. that was the outlet next door. But the idea of like water being banned on the island. What's going on there? We live on an island, like.
Ireland can't seem to handle one extreme or the other.
I know.
You know, like it's like we can't handle too much sun, too much snow, or too much rain.
There was a road melted. Did you see that? A road melted. Did you not see that?
I didn't know.
A road melted. There's like half a wheel in the tarmac in the road. And they're like digging a car out and stuff like that.
We're not built for it at all, are we? No air conditioning. It's like being on holidays without the air conditioning.
Air conditioning. I heard somebody talking about air conditioning the other day. I'm like, you can't even spell air conditioning, mate. Hey, did you know what air conditioning was 3 days ago? He was like, need air conditioning in here.
Because you know when you're on holidays in Lanzarote or something, or like even in New York or something in the summer, and you walk into a shop and it's, that's cool. You walk into a shop here, it's like just still the same temperature.
It's somehow when I think with a bag of peas on my head, roasting to death as well. It's like
kind of coke in the back of my neck.
Stop! Yeah. And everyone looks at me like in this weather because I'm so ginger. Like they want to say something like, "Do you have sun cream on me?" You know what I mean? Well, we look out after the gingers when the sun gets past 20 degrees.
Factor 200.
We start looking after. But here, man, what have you been doing to Cape Cool?
Do you know what? With the office we're in now, the office we were in before had like just no air conditioning. It was like a sauna in the summer. But the one we're in now is like it's new office, the air conditioning in it, and it's like actual lifesaver. You know, so like I went for a run last week before last on a Sunday. And
in the office, I hope.
I just went for.
But is he?
Oh no, went for
in the office. That's why I've been running.
I was like, I'm gonna have to like. I was like, I'm gonna have to sort the cardio. Went for a 6 mile run with my Maz and Finglas. Went up around DCU and all that. Came back. Farmer's tan, like a thick farmer's tan. Then I had to go running with a vest to try and even her out. But I'm not able for the heat at all. Like I sweat loads, you know. Like I sit in front of the lights for about 2 minutes and it just starts coming down.
I'm a sweaty Betty as well. It doesn't go on my face, running in my armpits. I'd be shaking. I do. Hey, you want to see the one I seen the other day? Forget a farmer's tan, forget vest tan. I seen a guy that had a man bag strap. Like a man bag strap just going through him, a big white strap.
He's walking around with a shirtless, was he?
Yeah, he was shirtless. He must have been the day before with a man bag on. And then the next day, like there was just a big strap going. Either that, he was carrying a rifle or something around. But I doubt he had a look of a man bag on him, to be honest. Like he was one of them dudes. He was a bit of a hipster. Yeah. You know what I mean? I haven't even introduced you yet.
Everybody like, who's the fuck is he?
Here we are. He's had to bring in some lad on that's talking about the weather. He's not a weatherman. This is Mike Sheridan. Mike Sheridan is a journalist turned MMA fighter. No, what Mike has done, Mike done a documentary called The Barbaric Gentlemen, and I have to say it was, at the time of it was about 5 years ago. Mike you were the journalist for Joe.ie at the time, wasn't
the editor, yeah.
Yeah, the editor at Joe.ie. He decided that he wanted to feel what it was like to roll around with sweaty men. He wanted to feel like what it was like to have the experience of a fight, and he did something that he didn't have to do. He had a job, he had it. I think I would have took your job at that time and said, you take mine. Because at the time, MMA wasn't something where you were going to make money in, or you were actually even going to get fame from. Yeah. So like, even looking at the documentary, if you haven't checked this documentary out, go onto YouTube and check it out. It's called Barbaric Gentlemen. Owen Roddy is Michael's coach in it, and he teaches Mike over 3 months' time, and he competes at a live event against another martial artist, not against some little guy that was stood up as a cardboard target. A guy that was a taekwondo expert, and he had some fight, and you could see he had a straight blast, was putting you under pressure, and it's a truly kind of great eye opener of what was before. That was one of its probably of the kind, wouldn't it have been?
Yeah. At the time,
First of a kind.
Yeah. At the time, it was like just that MMA explosion hadn't quite happened in Ireland yet. That night in that card in Dublin that you fought on, that Conor headline, that was the following July. I mean, the documentary I think went out for the first time on Satanta in December, and then it went out again just before that. TV3 bought it, and it went out just before the Dublin card, and that's really when MMA just started getting insanely big, because all you lads blew up and we're all getting fights in the UFC. So at the time, it was I had a following. Like in UFC 93, it was like 2009 in 3 Arena, sold out in 2 hours.
That was mental.
That was a deadly night.
And the bad thing is, we were all there. Like,
it's mental.
Down with the journalists and cameramen and security that do all the Irish events, and all, you could just see it. It was like the whole Irish MMA scene had went to watch. We're going to watch this one.
Yeah,
and it was great. That was
Tom Egan fought. Tom Egan as well. Yeah. It was so it was on there was always a following there for it, and like my brothers were, my eldest brother Robbie is traditional jiu-jitsu black belt and was always into martial arts and mixed martial arts, and I'd done ultramarathons for years, so I'd done 2 ultramarathons back to back, or trained for them, and done marathons and then ultramarathons, and the first ultramarathon I did was a 100-kilometer run in the Arctic Circle with my mate Ash.
What?
He was ended up coming 7th, but I held him back. He's like, Ash is he owns a running shop now in Temple Bar. He's like just born tough, 9.5 hour Ironman, Australian, just different kettle of fish. He used to have to run 6 miles to the post box in the morning. He says that's how we started running.
In Australia, your neighbour can be like,
exactly. They're just badasses.
Some houses where the neighbours are 100 miles an hour,
dodging rattlesnakes and shit on the way.
Yeah.
But I did
Crikey!
He did that, and I did that with him in God, it would have been 7 years ago now. Following year, then we did it was about 135 miles from Limerick to Dublin, and we made a documentary on that. So I was always I was like, right, I always wanted to try MMA. I always wanted to do it, but I just didn't have the balls to do it. And then
even at that time, trying MMA was a bread move, Mike.
Yeah.
It was the Wild West.
You go up to, I'm sure when you get people coming in here for the first time, and that apprehension of, like, I remember like my brother dropped me up to Owen's first class, and it was primal at the time, and it's scary. It's like the first day of school, but people are trying to choke you unconscious. Probably happens in some schools as well.
Well, I was just about to say, that wasn't my first day of school. What's the difference? No, 100%. But the idea is when, so I watched the documentary there again last night as well, and it was great to see so many like young faces in it. So I think I'm in it, right, but I'm actually on a poster in the back of it beside Conor. If you watch it, I'm right in the middle. I am. No, I think I was actually I don't know whether I was injured or I was in Canada at the time when it was going on. But I remember it was like I was there, but I remember seeing the pavilion. I remember seeing the show and stuff like that. But I wasn't at the show at that time. I can't remember where I even was. But watching it from the outside was amazing, because, like, to be honest, man, when we seen you coming in, and I was like, man, fuck, what's he getting into? Do you know what I mean? Like, you don't look aggressive. You don't look like and most like MMA fighters at the time would have kind of had a little
bit of cauliflower or whatever,
an edge to them or something like that. You know what I mean? And had a reason to want to get into fighting.
Yeah.
Where to me, you were kind of one of the first people that wanted to understand what it was about, and I couldn't even try what you were trying to understand. I couldn't even understand what you were trying to understand.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Because to me, at the time, it was just like, fighting is scary, it's nervous, but now I think I'm a little bit older and a little bit more mature. I understand that my body was going through some shit at that time, and you're learning from it.
Yeah.
But where you would have been even more mature than what I was thinking. I was just thinking, get the next one out of the way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Where you wanted to get the feeling of what it was like and the emotional growth from it, if you must.
Yeah, like
what was that? I
mean, I was 30 when I started training. And that's, that's obviously late, and it's, like, Owen will tell you this. I remember watching back the first session I did with Owen, we filmed it, and like, I mean, I'm not technical now and I never will be, it's just not my style, but we're trying to hit the pads with Owen, and I remember, like, at the time thinking, I'm hitting these hard, I'm doing that, watch that back, and Jesus, the cord, like, I'd say Owen Roddy was looking at me going, oh fuck, what am I going to do with your man,
And Owen was a credit even watching that, because Owen was teaching you in a way that you probably needed to be taught at that time. He was putting it on you, but all basics as well. That's what he'd be trying to say to people now, is like, when I'm saying when teaching, it's like, if you get really, really good at the basics, you can kind of play the game. Then
Yeah.
you learn the rules, and then you learn to play the game, and you can't play the game as hard as possible because someone will get hurt.
Exactly,
It has to
yeah.
be like if you know what someone's trying to do, you kind of flow it a little bit as well because you're not getting your knee twisted or something like that. So
Yeah.
I say you have a lot more understanding of that now. Poor Owen put himself into a mad situation. Some journalist coming in to headlock him, you know what I mean? But like, alright, I'll have a go, but Owen would have been well able for you, I'm surprised.
Yeah, Owen I think kind of realised early on with me that he was like, look, this lad isn't going to be dancing around the place on the top of his toes, you know, throwing head kicks. I think he thought, right, he's kind of strong. He's naturally strong. You think he thought, right, he hits hard.
Yeah.
You know, we knew that. He was like, we can work with that. And I think more than anything else, I think, you know, and it's like Carl says this in the documentary, actually, Carl Pounded, where it's like, you never want to learn how to take a shot, obviously.
Oh,
but, you know, I could take a shot, and Owen knew that. And you see that in the fight in the documentary, you know. And it's like, it's fight or flight. And you were kind of talking about that off air, where somebody hits you and you react a certain way. You know, somebody hit me and I walked forward and tried to get a hold of him, and that was just instinctual with me, you know.
Yeah.
And also with about 8 cameras in my face.
Yeah.
You look, Jesus, I
The
can't.
freeze one is what people miss. You know
Yeah.
that one I said, you know, the fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
Like them 3 primal things that keep you alive in the wild. The idea of running away, the idea of fighting, and then the idea of freezing and seeing as a pass by. And a lot of people don't recognise that one. That like, I see guys freezing all the time in the cage, but they're like, oh, it just didn't happen for me. And it's like, no, it actually, you probably just froze. So, and there was a moment in your fight in that where I think you freeze for a second and then you start moving again. But it's a point of a second.
Yeah.
But like the freeze part, I think people miss that.
Yeah, and as well as that, the adrenaline dump as well, and that's something that Owen talked about. I didn't get a chance to have an adrenaline dump because he kept digging me in the fucking head. But, like, Owen
My adrenaline was there till the end.
yeah, but like Owen talked about that, and like, you know,
It was the first
beforehand.
exchange I say was scary, wasn't it?
The first thing he did was, I remember Owen saying, and I fought a guy called Alex Swan, and he's like junior national taekwondo champion, and he's a tank, he's in great nick, and a sound chap.
Yeah, I see him
He's the
sound.
nicest guy ever, Alex.
see him sound, yeah.
And it's a strange situation when you know when you actually kind of like somebody. He's a nice guy,
stop, man,
but he
yeah.
tried to knock me out from the start, and I thought it was going to be like, right, I didn't know what to think, but I thought, oh, we're going to move around a bit here, and you know, like, and then get into it obviously, but you know, pace ourselves. He came out off the bat, bam, tried to knock me out. And my cardio was good, even though I was out of shape going into it, physically out of shape, like I looked like I was out of shape. I'd done the ultramarathons,
Yeah.
so I had that kind
You
of.
had an engine,
I
a baseline.
wasn't explosive, but I had that like, right, I can grind,
Yeah.
and I always knew I could grind. And like Owen said it to me before, he's like, you've been to dark places. We ran across the country, and in the middle of the night you're just going uphill 60, 70 miles in with 60, 70 miles to go. And you have to mentally go to a place where, look, I just need to fucking get through this.
Yeah, so
you know?
a lot more of that. What's the? I never even knew he did the ultramarathons. I heard a little bit of it, but like I kind of didn't even look into what an ultramarathon is. Like,
Yeah. I done marathons for I done like a good few marathons, and I just kind of got bored of them. Did an Ironman 70.3 in Germany.
An Ironman?
It's 70.3 now, so it's like the big ones are 140. But I didn't know how to swim doing the Ironman, and there's a 1.2 mile swim at the start. Then it was a half marathon. Then it was, I think, a 40-something mile cycle and then a half marathon. So like long distance triathlon.
So what's that, about 20 more than 20 lengths?
Oh God, it was a reservoir in Wiesbaden in Germany, like mental, you know. And I learned how to swim before, and it was one that was like, look, this is a life skill. I need to learn how to swim, you know. And like, I'll give myself a kick in the hole, and you know, say I'm gonna sign up for this Ironman.
That's what I've guys training here for triathlons and Ironman and all that kind of stuff.
The fittest, you know. But
one of the boys, Dean, only did one. Well, Dean started MMA with me, and he did one, and he got on great with it. Now
Yeah.
I've been training. I don't want an indoor one myself, but I've been training to do an outdoor one. I'll be decent at the swimming.
Yeah.
Like I do a lot of time.
that's the hardest part.
I do a lot of time in the sea,
Yeah.
and I do a lot of swimming in the sea, and I do a lot of from a kid, like
Yeah.
the lakes around wherever you can find a bit of water. Found us in it, you know, cooling off. You know yourself.
No, but that's the toughest thing. The toughest part of it was the swim. Because it's like if you're cycling or whatever, like cycling's one thing, you're going uphill, it can be exhausting, right? But if you're running, you can stop and walk for a second, you're sore. You can't fucking stop swimming.
No,
you know, that's... And actually somebody in that 70.3 in Wiesbaden died during the swim. I found out afterwards. I think if you get a cramp or, you know, there's like so many people in the water, you can get caught with an elbow and
knock you out.
But I never... The triathlons weren't for me, man. The triathlons were like... There was like... It's a weird, like... You know, I don't want to generalise at all, but triathletes,
Go on, it's alright. No shame. You can do whatever you want. If anyone judges you, it's on them.
There's just a bike envy shit. Like, I used to do laps of Hout on the bike, you know. I was living in Concealia at the time, and I'd cycle up, do laps of Hout. You'd be on the bike 4 or 5 hours training, and the lads be looking at your bike. These lads with pouches, belly pouches, and Lycra and 3 grand bikes, and you're like, this shit, it just wasn't for me. And I remember I did one.
We'll be throwing sticks in there, a big daddy job, and then boys there, that's revenge. Whoop, stick out, boom, over there. Yeah.
I think I was only watching that the other day.
He's writing the lads off. That's what I'd be doing with them, Mike. You need a hand, give us a shout.
But I didn't, I couldn't, do you know what happened? I did 2 weeks before I did the Ironman, I did a triathlon called the Beast of the East in Wicklow, right? And the Beast of the East it was called. It was solid now because it's Wicklow. I was around Roundtree and all that in Wicklow, and I was finished, and it goes in different waves, and somebody was walking into wherever the transitions are, so you go from the bike to the run or whatever, and some triathlete led on a bike screamed at somebody because she was walking across like, get out me fuck, come on, because he wanted his splits or whatever. I was like, pal, like that, it just like little things like that just turned me off.
Oh, no,
but then you get the elite guys and like Ironman who are like elite guys in any sport, I suppose. But the Ironman, and my mate Ash was one of the elite guys who did an amazing time. He's sound, they're alright, you know, they're the different kind of thing.
Yes,
like.
is it it's like, oh yeah, one my good friend telling me about, like, was it one of our mates or something like that was going out with a cyclist, and she was like, that was it. She'd never seen them, and she ended up driving bicyclists now. She'd be like, your wife's fucking hate you. You know what I mean? Because they become these lads that are just obsessed with cycling and absolutely nothing else.
Yeah. Because it's so easy on the joints as well, you know, but it can be exhausting too, you know.
Your legs, like.
Yeah, legs, like, burn out.
Mike's not out on a bike out off the rocker now, you know what I mean? It's so easy on the joints out there when you're cycling. Not the Diaz brothers here.
Going around the Hout, like.
Yeah, you know. But
here,
the Antarctic one. What was that? The Arctic
Circle, yeah. So the following year then I did the 100k run with Ash. It was in just north of Härnösand in Sweden. So you literally fly to Stockholm and then go, I think it's about 1,000 kilometers north, something insane like that. And it was an incredible experience. Like I didn't know Ash that well at the time. He worked in a running shop in town, and I was buying runners off and asking for advice. And we just kind of got talking to each other. Ash is an absolute fucking legend, you know. And it turned out he's an Australian guy, and he'd lived in Sweden and spoke fluent Swedish. So I was like, look, I'm at the signing up to do this 100k run because I'm a weirdo. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it with you. Now Ash is like, I think, a 250 marathon, 245 marathon, which is insane.
What does that mean?
It means like going sub 3 hour in a marathon's not far off elite, you know. And he's like, I actually think he's won a couple of marathons as well.
Under 3 hours.
Yeah, under 3 hours, and like Ash could fall out of bed with a hangover and do a 3:30 marathon. You know, he's just born tough. Just kind of has those genetics. Just kind of has it in him. You know.
Half gazelle.
Yeah, and he kept me alive then through that 100k run because. Whatever, it pissed rain for the whole thing, so it was in June now. We weren't running through snow or anything.
But I was about to say, was it cold?
No, it was 24-hour daylight, and this tiny little village.
That's cool.
It's deadly, yeah. The Lapland Ultra. So you're running through all this dense forest, and I wrote a piece for a running magazine at the time, just to do it, just to kind of must actually try and find that piece and look back at it. But yeah, it took us, I think, about 11 and a half hours, and we finished 7th. We finished joint 7th, but my feet swelled up during the run because it rained. And like you probably had the wrong runners at the time. You had to change your clothes. I think at the halfway point.
Jeez, and Ash telling you the runner as well.
Yeah, I know, right?
He should have fucking said it to me.
I think that's why you felt. I think that's why you fucking felt bad. But he wasn't expecting it to rain and for my feet to swell.
Oh, right.
But no, he ploughed through it. But I held him back. He could have won it. You know, he held back with me to make sure I was all right. And you meet people on the run. Like there was a lad there on the run who would ran across continents. That's what he did. The Swedish bloke. You know, like he's about 60, I think. And he ran across. He was only at the running across Portugal and Spain. Like it's ultra runners are mental.
Them Swedes and Finns, like, when it comes to anything like that, they're mental, aren't they?
They're mental, like, and like it's a certain mindset. And they're generally quite insular, like ultra runners, because it's such a solitary thing to train for. I was training for that one. It was bad, but I go for runs with Ashes. But the following one I did with my mate Brian. Brian Marr, he's DJ on 98 FM, and long story short, we did a documentary called Challenge 126 where we ran from Limerick to Dublin, and it ended up, it was supposed to be 126 miles, ended up in about 135. Brian ended up running about 5 more than me, 6 more than me, because I ended up in Clane Hospital about 110 in, and they just couldn't. Everything just shut. Your body just
shuts down.
It goes into shock, you know.
Yeah.
A little niggly injury like blisters fuck you up because over that distance, then you start, it alters how you run. And if you're doing that for, you never mind a marathon, if you're doing that for 50, 60 miles, everything, like your knees, your back, everything.
That's what Muhammad Ali says, isn't it? It's not the mountain that beats you, it's the pebble in your shoe.
That's it, and that's exactly, it's so true.
It is.
I remember going to this hospital in Clane, and nobody knew how far we had to go. So somebody would say, you've 8 miles to go, and then somebody else would say, you've 22 miles to go. And when you've been running for 30-something hours straight, that fucks with you.
Yeah, mentally, that would drain.
That absolutely fucks with you. And I remember the lady in the hospital in Clane was lovely, but she was like, what are you doing? That's mental, just stop. I was like, I'm 110 miles in, I've got a camera crew in my face, I can't just be like, well,
I'm done, you know what I mean?
I'm done.
But see, she would have spoke to them camera crew for you by the sounds of it, you know what I mean? He's going home, right? He's got to have a rest. So, like an Irish mammy.
Yeah, that was exactly it, you know? It was like, yeah, what are you bleed doing to eat? You know, it was one of those.
But you probably heard loads of that, I'd say, when you were at the signing up to fight in a cage, like, because like, you would have been, say, a journalist in an office somewhere, like, and like, even looking at people, I think it was Ryan Tuberty in the yoke, and he's like, cage fighting and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, Ryan, stop the please.
Ryan's one of the I have to say, Ryan's one of the few guys who fucking gets it.
Oh, really?
No, he's one of the few. And I don't remember doing that.
But I hadn't heard cage fighting in so long.
Yeah, because it was 5 years ago.
It took a long while to get rid of that.
Kind of stigma.
Stigma, if you must. It's like boxers are ring fighters.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You know,
it's mad. Yeah, runners are trackers. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. But the idea of like, who believed you? What did your mum and like, say your girlfriend at the time?
Well, my girlfriend at the time, Carol, she produced it, so she put it together, and she kind of got as a director and somebody to shoot and edit it, and because she worked in TV.
That's what she did. Yeah,
that's what she did, and like, she didn't, like, other than having to put up with me cutting weight, terrified.
Cutting weight. So what did you feel with that? The cutting weight part.
Well, I was out of shape. I was out, like, I'm 86 now, but I was a different 86 then. Yeah. You know, I was just sloppy.
You could see it. You see it in the documentary.
Yeah, you see it in the documentary. Yeah. Fuck, that's gonna haunt me forever.
Breakfast rolls.
Every once in a while, Owen Roddy shares that picture because he's like, look at him now. Look what, you know.
Good man.
But she had to listen to me, and she was like, look, you were just super quiet, you know, because you know, I was training every day, and look, and no one didn't throw me in with white belts because, you know, as you know, they can be the worst, you know.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say to you.
They pull your head off, or, you know, even now, and because, you know, everybody's so tense. And
that's what people think. People would be afraid of the guys that are like up in the belts, and they kind of established guys. But you're saying to yourself there.
Yeah, it's even like, got even like, I did a class last night, and I've kept training consistently enough, you know. But I did a class last night.
Are you addicted? Would you be safe to say?
Yeah, like girlfriend now says it to me all the time. She's like, you're a different person after you've trained. Like, and if you haven't trained for a couple of weeks, but I'm a fucking looper. Like, I go up in the weekends and train with the toughest lads in the gym. Like Ian Cleary, Ian is an animal. He's one of the toughest spars ever, and Ian's fighting at bantamweight, but he's a nightmare to spar. Or like Danny Hall, Danny's somebody you're training with a lot.
Danny's very good.
Danny's unbelievable, but then like I was rolling with Danny, he's high level purple belt, and he's so technical, and so everything's flowing. Then you roll with somebody who's training a few months, and they're jumping on you, and you know,
the head locking and screaming. I know you so like, it was only a guy not too long ago the other week, and one guy's like, fucking, I know you've saying to people, listen, be very careful who you hate at the start. Do you know what I mean? Because they're not bad people. They just don't understand. And it can be that kind of thing. Because you can get these little predators like, I don't like him. You know what I mean? He swears my head.
Yeah.
But they don't mean it.
But it's even at the start of the sparring, like, you'd be sparring with somebody and they hit you hard and you hit them hard, and then you're like, there's a little bit of aggression that's completely gone with me now.
Escalation.
Yeah, you know, that escalation of what the fuck. Now it's like never personal.
No, obviously. Never, zero.
Yeah,
personal.
but at the start you're like, what the fuck is the story with?
Well, yeah, like he would, and as I said, all of a sudden you're in your car and he's getting into his car and you're like, oh, like, you know what I'm saying?
He punched me in the face.
That's how you give people advice on it. They'd be saying, listen, don't make any judgments of people at the start, because people are like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Someone gets stiffed in the head. I didn't mean that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bangs of elbows, all of this sort of stuff. There's actually a part in it in the documentary, and if you see it, this is funny. You get a black eye in it, and you're like, he goes, "Oh, you have to get a black eye," and you're like, "Really, Danny? You were the lion?"
Yeah.
First blood. Roddy had one as well. So Roddy was saying, I had one too.
First blood, like, you know, and that was one of the last sessions where my conditioning was through the roof. One thing I was fucking fit, you know.
But you were even after the round, just you're talking.
Yeah, I was able to. I could have gone, you know. Like I said, I wasn't explosive, but I was fucking fit, you know. I was grinding her out. But that was a session with Owen in particular that, like, looking back on it now, like, it was almost fucking unbelievable. And that was, you know, everybody knows how good a coach Owen Roddy is now, but at the time, from what he did with me, and it's like people have thrown the CM Punk thing around a little bit, and like I don't align us at all. I think it's a completely different kettle of fish, you know. So this is my watch big word. That alarm's never gone off before. But I remember watching when the CM Punk thing happened, the Barbaric Gentlemen stuff kind of came up again, and like, you know, like Duke Rufus is an amazing coach, right? Obviously he's Duke fucking Rufus, he's amazing. But then you watch what CM Punk does in the first fight, and even in the second fight, he's tense and he tries to walk him down. Almost like, get a fucking hold of him and pin him. Go and get him down, get him on the ground. You know, like, very basic, simple, easy to follow instructions.
Targets as well.
Because I've got, even now, Paddy, like, and in presenting, like, if I'm presenting a show or something, I have a terrible short-term memory. I can never remember script verbatim if I'm not using auto cue. So, like, I'm trying to remember bits and whatever, and it's like that with drills. And no one has always said that about me, that specifically with jits, because it can be very technical, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why I haven't gone and graded it with the jits, because I'm probably fucking, it's a stupid fear that I have. I'm like, I feel like an idiot because I can't remember that drill or whatever. But then Owen is like, when you're live training, when you're live sparring or live rolling, whatever, you do it instinctively.
That's really all that matters,
you know.
Subconscious thinking.
Yeah, and I think Owen saw that with me. And like, one thing, because I always would have said to Owen about being just an incredible, like, pad man, like, apart from a coach, an unbelievable pad man. Yeah. And he would just say, I'll give people shots that work for them. And like, with me, he was like, right, never going to be overly technical, but if he catches you, he'll fuck you up.
Yeah,
you know?
Right. And that's the thing, that unorthodox kind of guy swinging at you
awkward as fuck, like.
Yeah, you're like, and it comes from like yesterday. And it hits you on the top of the back of the head.
Yeah.
Boom. What was that? You know?
And like, even now I look back at footage of me sparring, even now, like, I'm sparring with somebody like Danny, and Danny is so technical on the feet as well.
Yeah,
like,
he is a clinic on the feet.
Oh, he's unbelievable.
I watched him in England before on a double jab right hand clinic,
and he dropped somebody with a liver shot, finished somebody with a liver shot there in his last fight. He's like, and then I'll take him to the ground, and then he has your back.
Oh,
and then that's
high
it,
level purple belt as well. He's really good guy.
So I'm going up there every week. Like, if I can't make class,
even Danny's in the. Did you see Danny in it?
Danny in it, yeah. Danny was one of the first people I started training with, and I still train with him now.
In the documentary, he's so young.
Yeah,
and even Roddy.
Yeah,
Roddy's so young. Check him out. He's like,
now he's a pro with the camera.
Yeah, he's so good at it now. But it goes to show, as he said, it's a great opportunity for people to watch it now, especially MMA fans now.
Yeah,
because that's what I was going to say to you. You were saying, your girlfriend at the time produced it, but like, not that the numbers weren't great on it, but I know for a fact if you did something like that now, say if we got Fergus Ryan, say we dragged him out for a match, like, that would get mad numbers now because of the idea, I think, of ordinary entertainment.
Yeah.
If you have, like, say, people are entertained by MMA, the ordinary folk as well, like the Love Islanders, if you must, you know what I mean, would watch someone getting ready for probably even a series now you'd get away with doing. Imagine doing this like a series building up every week training. Like that would. Yeah,
like, I mean, that was something that, like, I got a lot of like, just in social media, I got a lot of comments and stuff, and like from like professional GAP, not professional GAP players, but like elite GAP players who were like they were obsessed with the training because they saw just some of the conditioning stuff I did in the training with John Connors and the ISI. And
John Connors as well. It was a big part. And I actually have John Connors on Wednesday. So
John's amazing.
This gets released today actually, so this is probably going to be the first No Shame that's released in the same day. That's it. Yeah, we usually do it the day before, but this week was a little bit crazy. We had to do the weekend got in the way, we're not going to lie. I had my best mate's wedding. Robin had some American trip going on as well. But it's usually out on Tuesday. Yeah. But it was good to see actually some, like, people were texting me, where's No Shame? Where's that? And I was like,
it's always nice when you're like, because we do shows as well, we do podcasts as well. And like, is anybody fucking watching this? I listen, and then you get tweets or whatever. You're like, oh, people do give a shit.
You don't know what you got till it's gone.
Exactly.
That's what it was like.
Let them miss it. Let them miss it.
So, what was I saying there? What's going on to you? What was I saying? What was me trying to talk?
The ex-girlfriend producing.
Yeah, the producing. But the numbers, like, what's it, 33,000 views I seen last night?
Something like that.
I usually see, is there another video? Because this is a solid documentary. Yeah, and I remember at the time everyone going on about it as well.
Yeah, it was like, because it was such a small world at the time. But like, kind of what happened was, we made the documentary, and look, and we talked to Robin Black about this as well. And like Robin's bang on, man.
Bang on,
and Robin was like, I think you and me have a lot in common, you know, because I felt like one of the reasons why I did it was I was like, I can't talk about this sport unless I've experienced it. I can't.
That I admired that.
Yeah.
I really did. That was, and back in the day, I just didn't really interview I just kept doing. But we yourself, I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah, because I just like, and I talked to Robin Black about this, where I was like, he gets it as well to like, and I know you do commentary as well for Bama, like, so obviously you've got fucking context for every single move you were talking about, for every single position that everybody's in, and it's an empathy where you're like, somebody takes a shot that you know how they fucking feel.
Exactly,
you know?
The feeling of it and the emotional build up of it as well.
And when we made that documentary, I was like, right, this is going to lead to other things, and that was the point at the time. And I talked to Satanta about doing an MMA panel show as UFC was blowing up. Nearly happened, didn't happen, and then when we sold the documentary to TV3, because we lost our bollocks on it, we didn't make money. We lost money on the documentary.
Did it?
Yeah, like we didn't.
Don't mind me asking. How much would you be looking at?
At the time, I think
to set a documentary like that up.
I think at the time we were very lucky. As the guy Gary put it together for us. He had a camera. He's a cameraman in TV3. He put it together for us and edited it for us. So he directed it. But he didn't really know MMA, so I was producing it while training for the fight.
Right.
But like executive producing, and then Carol was producing it. So Carol was the one, you know, chasing John, chasing Connor, chasing Dana White to get Dana White.
There's Dana White interviews and Connor interviews.
And like we were putting up the money between us. Like Owen did it for nothing, which is like incredible. Even now looking back, you know, he did it for, you know, for the experience to do it. And yeah, we lost about $2,000 on it. I think it ended up costing about $5,000, and then we sold it for whatever. But we sold it to TV3. I think it was for like $1,000 on the basis that they give us another documentary. So this is when, you know, I was saying to you beforehand off air, where when that UFC card in Dublin, it was July, was it?
It was July, the 18th of July.
18th of July. And we were just cage side for that, just a couple of rows back from cage side for that. And I remember you walking out, this is fucking unbelievable. 5:30 and the place was absolutely buzzing.
The Lewis was full for hours. We're going to fill them Lewis's again someday. That's what I said.
I knew that it was gonna be like that. I don't know, I did that. There's something bubbling here and this is going to be like that. So this is after Barbaric Gentlemen went out. And like it was insane, you know, because I've done TV shit for years. And my level of recognition is, or people recognise, like, you're a man from, nobody ever knew me fucking name. And I presented kids TV and all that shit. When the documentary came out.
I'm actually going to go into that, some interview people. I've seen you interview.
Yeah. When I made the documentary, people, like, knew who I was. It was smaller, but they knew who I was. And they were recognising me for something that I'd done and something that I'd achieved. You know? It was a different thing.
And I bet that was a different feel.
Exactly. It was amazing because, you know, it was like, you know, put me money where my mouth is, and, you know, people recognised that and I ended up getting people into the sport. And even somebody said it to me last night, they started training because of the doc, you know.
That was brilliant. That's brilliant.
When that UFC Dublin was happening, we talked to TV3, and TV3 greenlit us for a second documentary and gave us a budget. And I was like, look, I want to go around UFC Dublin. At the time, Conor McGregor was obviously main eventing and had about 8 camera crews following him around. I was like, look, Conor's, you know, that's its own beast, and you could see that was going to a superstar type place, right? I was like, the lads who I think are super interesting, the Neil Series, the Paddy Holahans, the Cottle Pendreds, you know, Gunny, these lads on the card, you know, that are like, you know, on the undercard, for want of a better phrase, but, you know, where else you see a fucking undercard at 5:30?
I know.
Like with an absolutely packed out Tree Arena, you know, 10,000 people.
You could feel it in the city that weekend.
You could,
as well.
and I knew that was going to happen, but what happened then ultimately was, after we got greenlit for the documentary, we were talking to the UFC, and we made sure we spoke to the UFC beforehand, before we went to TV3, and TV3 were negotiating rights to show the event live, because I think the sports guys in TV3 realised as well there's something happening here.
Yeah.
And they showed it on 3E, they showed the event live on 3E, so there was negotiations going on between TV3 and the UFC, and we kind of got caught in the middle of it. So we were greenlit, we were setting up interviews, we were like, right, you know, talking to Andy Ryan about talking to Neil Seary, I was going to chase up you guys and kind of do a Louis Theroux style. That had always been my, you know, what I wanted to do was like Louis Theroux style documentary, and not have to worry about getting digged in the head and be able to make a documentary, you know.
And understand, like that's what I said, the feeling of talking to guys that you know, that you train with, that you get some understanding with as well. And
you know, and there's more of a respect there as well. They're like, this isn't just some fucking sap coming in to, you know, be like, oh, so, you know, I knew the guys, I knew a lot of the guys, and they knew who I was, and but the UFC pulled the plug on it last minute. Somebody in the UFC, when they were negotiating with TV3 to show the event live, just went, look, And we'd had a great relationship with them before, but I think in that particular position, there'd been a lot of people who changed over. You know, there'd been a lot of change in that position, and the person who kind of had to say, so the person who watched the documentary or watched rushes of Barbaric Gentlemen and went, yeah, look, come over and talk to Dana White. And, you know, and kind of looked at me and went, right, he's actually spoken to people before, you know, he's done this for a living as well. Like, he's not just somebody coming over going, Dana, what's the story, you know? And yeah, so that was heartbreaking, because we, like, that was like, right, this is happening.
Like you building up, someone taking it off.
Yeah, and we were like, this is happening, like, and I remember going into the meeting with the head of TV3, Jeff Ford, and Owen McArdle, who, you know, is I think he's head of independent productions, going, I remember leaving the meeting with Carol going, holy shit, this is happening. And then to have that pulled, you know, like last minute, and then to be like, that was one of the best nights ever. Like, that night was just, I can only imagine what it was like. For you being in there.
I would have what I've always said about that night is I would have loved to be able to experience it both ways.
Yeah.
Experience it on the other side of the fence and actually just enjoy it as a fan, because I knew, like, it's going to be like World Cup 94. I was thinking to myself, you know what I mean? And then the experience that I did have with it, because it was very hard to look at. It was like it was blinkers going to the cage. I was saying to myself, if you get this one, Paddy, get this one. You've changed everything. You've changed your life. You've changed your family's life. You've changed it all. This is the one. And every other fight didn't even matter. I would have traded it all for that one. And each person was thinking the same thing. That was that fire. You could feel it. You know what I mean? I know the four of us were in the dressing room upstairs. Like I know Neil was in a different dressing room, and everybody played that part that night. You know what I mean? It was incredible. I don't think even the UFC. I think that would be a. If they did cards, Hall of Fame cards, I think that would.
Oh, that's 100% up there. And so was 93 as well, I think. But we could see Dana White and one of the Fertittas filming the crowd as you lads were walking out, going, holy fucking.
It was incredible. Dana tweeted at that and said, I remember being back up with my mates after this in the crowd, drinking after it, like. So we ended up going straight from the cage, like, basically up into the crowd with the boys. Had me wraps and all on. Yeah. And I was rocking on watching Neil Series fight then. And it was just crazy like that. And it was so easy that you were able to just jump in, and I was just one of these people, but you weren't. You were now this big kind of.
There's no other sport where you get that. You know, there's no other sport where you get that. You just be mobbed.
And this is what someone's going to say to yourself as well, because you touched on it. The idea of you saying, oh, people know you're from, because I've always wondered what this would be like. I wonder what it'd be like to be, like, and I won't say famous because I'm not famous. I'll say that people know me. But how, like, to be in Westlife or to be in something like that, like, is that a different type of fame? I think if you're a fighter, as you were saying, it's different.
Yeah.
You're getting praise for, like, and you've been around like Harrison Ford, and you've been around some high level famous people, that real famous people, I would call them.
The one thing I'd notice with, like, super famous people, and, like, I've been doing that for, like, I'm interviewing, like, just actors and directors and all that stuff, outside of sports people as well, for, like, over a decade, you know, and people think it's glamorous, like, from a journalist's point of view or from a producer or presenter's point of view. People are like, oh, you fucking get to hang around, and it is, you know, and, like, it's been unbelievable. I've been sent to Brazil for the Fast and Furious junket, you know, like in Rio, spending 5 days in Rio. I was training for an ultra at the time. I was fucking dying sick. I was.
But, like, I mean, I got to me to Rio.
Yeah,
I'm not coming back.
Yeah, but I got to watch the whole cast of Fast and Furious, like Vin Diesel, The Rock, Paul Walker, like, rest of soul, the sweetest man. And I got to watch all of them interact with people
and each other,
and, like, see how nice they were with certain journalists and see how not nice some of them were, but, like, to just see them be human, you know. Normally it's like a fucking, you're in a dentist waiting room waiting to go in and talk to somebody, but, like, the one thing I'd say about, like, celebrities or whatever, right, that level of fame, is that the people around those celebrities, if they're around them long enough, they think they're famous. And they think they're, you know, and that's a very, very, it's almost toxic. And I see that a lot, like, where people, like, it's, you know,
you would get, like, say, assistants. And stuff
yeah,
like that,
or whatever it is, or just somebody who's part of their entourage or whatever. And they're just, I'm like, I'd be just very lucky if you have them work for it, you know, like, and even then, like I find it very, very uncomfortable, like, and I'm by fucking no means anywhere near famous, like. But if I get even semi-recognised, or mostly for the MMA stuff, like, I'm like, my girlfriend now was like, you're just so uncomfortable. I'd be shit at being famous. I don't, like, I'm not.
Mike doesn't have 20 girlfriends, by the way.
Yeah, no,
he only had
I don't know. I've only got one.
Yeah,
but
it's like, but that was he only has one.
I've only got the one. And like we went to Robin Black there like a few weeks ago in Liberty Hall, and afterwards like people were kind of coming over, and I was like, hey, how's it going? I'm like, fuck, I don't know what to, you know.
That's crazy.
So I can only imagine what it's like to be like Chris Pratt or to be The Rock or to be whatever. It's a certain personality type, you know, to be able to, you know, give everybody whatever X amount of time, and sometimes you can't.
It's exhausting.
It's yeah, and I mean, I've, you know, as long as I'm doing it, I've met people who I'm like fucking obsessed. I was obsessed with growing up, and like, you know, got to speak to them and have conversations with them, and it's never the ones that you think it is. Like, you know, it's like the best interview I ever did, my favourite interview I ever did, is a film called Swingers that came out in the mid-90s with Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau, and I was obsessed with it. I must have seen it 100 times to this day. That and Scream, and I have 4 or 5 films of my favourite films, but Swingers is my favourite film. And I got to interview Jon Favreau, who directed it, and I said to him when I went in, the first time I was ever in New York was like 2002, and they were filming Elf, and he directed Elf. So I got to, and before Will Ferrell was a superstar, you know, and I got to see him that scene where they throw Will Ferrell out of the Empire State Building, you know, the 2 security guards.
And what was it like?
It was weird because I was in film school at the time, and I was obsessed with Jon Favreau, and so to see that, and I said it to him when I went in to sit down, and he was amazing. It was just to have this connection with somebody who, you know, you'd admired for so long and been like this, you know, admired their work, and you know, you know, and kind of tell them, look, you know, I'd fangirling a little bit, and I've done it since. It was mostly with phones, like with Bill Burr, the comedian Bill Burr. Like we named a dog after Bill Burr, called her Burr, you know. I didn't tell him that because he think it was fucking weird. It is a bit weird, but you know, where you're like, right, yeah, you have a level of professionalism where you're like, you know, you kind of need to do this interview. Then you'll have like big superstar actors, and I couldn't give a fuck, you know. Like I'm like, do a good interview, and I want the interview to go well, but I'm not in awe of anybody,
no,
you know.
I think that's very important.
Yeah, that kind of comes with experience. And one thing I've never done is ask for pictures with people, you know. A lot of journalists, and she's nothing against anybody that does it, but just personally, I've never gone, oh, can I get a picture or whatever, you know. The interview will be there. You know, I would see a lot of journalists and stuff doing that.
You're
as well.
on camera with them.
You're right. Yeah, people can already fucking see it. You know.
I was actually only saying this yesterday because it's mad that you said that about GA players. Because when I was watching the World Cup, like obviously last night, I was saying, is it mad how there's guys doing like, say they'd play a match on a Saturday, they'd get pissed on the Sunday, and they'd be in work on the Monday. But then you've got footballers, as I said, like where all of a sudden they jump in, they go to a certain level of like, right. Now I'm famous. Now when I fall on the ground, I stay down for a little while until somebody says it. Was actually funny last night. Somebody was like, he's waiting for somebody to tell him he's alright. You know what I mean? You're alright. Am I? Yeah. Okay. I can get back up. But like when you were saying that, isn't it mad how like you've got GA players that would be like, they would butcher each other for the shot at the Sam Maguire and not get a penny.
Yeah.
And then you'll have footballers that will like, I don't know whether they're around the atmosphere, they become footballers or something. And I'm nothing against footballers either, but when you were saying that's interesting because you've been around a lot more different high level famous people and different types of famous people, if you must.
Yeah, and do you know what it is as well? It's like with the actors in particular, with the superstars in particular, it's always, and it's almost a cliche, right? But the bigger ones are sounder. You know, like The Rock is fucking sound.
I can imagine how
he's just, and it's always off camera beforehand and afterwards when you're chatting to people, when you get a good gauge of people, you know.
100%. I actually put a thing up the other day. I was seeing a meme and it was brilliant. It was about like, if you want to see what somebody's like, see how he treats
the people around
him. The people below him, not as equals.
Yeah.
So the people
that's huge.
Because that's you, and it is. I know exactly what you mean when you're making that comment.
Yeah.
When you see people like that, literally, like getting time, making sure they have time for the guy that's cleaning the coffee area or something like that time, and you can see them having a conversation. I've seen that myself. I've seen like really famous people, and you're kind of, you know what? It makes me even like them more.
Yeah. They're just, it shows what kind of person they are.
Yeah,
with the junkets in particular, like, 'cause you go into a room like this and it's set up kind of like this, and there's a big crew of people, and it's how they're interacting with the people around them, with the camera people, with the sound people. And the first one I ever did was Adam Sandler, you know. And I remember going in and he was having a crack with people in the room. Buzzing off the lads, and I'm like, I've interviewed him a couple of times since, and he's the nicest man in the world, you know. And You know, he always works with his friends. That's a big thing with him. You know, the quality of his films can fucking vary at the best of times, you know.
Yeah, because what's the movie with Madison thing?
Oh, Happy Madison is Madison is a production company. He did Happy Gilmore.
I think I've seen every single one. But that's a great little group of mates that did that, isn't it?
Rob Schneider and all those lads, like, you know.
Like that's what you want to be doing with it. Like, imagine coming up with the idea, we're going to make a film thing, we're going to create deadly films. Like, people are like, shut up, you know what I mean? And then to go on and make like Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison? You said
we were talking about Big Daddy the other night.
Big Daddy, but Billy Madison when he's taking all the dirty magazines out, you know what I mean? And even the way he has his acting and that is incredible. Yeah. He's the dude I'd like to meet. But I'd say he suffers from great depression.
Yeah, but there's a lot of that with comedians. He doesn't seem to know, because he's not like, well, a lot of stand-up comedians. There seems to be. You know, I don't want to.
He started off in that, didn't he?
He started off, he was kind of like a performer more than anything else. He would have done Saturday Night Live. And that's where a lot of these, like Will Ferrell and stuff, and a lot of these guys would have came from. Like Bill Hader now, and you know, some of these big names. Kate McKinnon now is one of the big ones, and Kirsten Wiig. But stand-up comedians, I think, you know, not as, you know, any ones I know are, you know, not neurotic or, you know, as far as I know, depressed. But it does seem to be a thing, because I suppose you're putting yourself out there, and you know, it's with anything. If you, like I always say, is if you're going to put yourself out there, being on social media, you're going to put certain posts out there, or you're going to stand up in front of people and perform, you're going to be fucking judged. And you have to accept that beforehand. If you're going to do anything publicly, people are going to look at that and go, meh. It's like, you know, or, yeah, that's good, or meh. Or like...
There's some sort of kind of like... the funny stuff is in the darkness.
Yeah.
I think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're a comedian, you're making fun of the darkness stuff, but you're kind of like taking it on.
Your head has to probably be there a little bit for the ones with the fucking really dark jokes, like Doug Stanhope or Louis C.K. or whatever, you know. There has to be a fucking certain darkness there.
Certain darkness there. Like Adam Sandler, there's a song that he made. Did you ever hear some of the songs he does?
He's brilliant. His albums are deadly.
Did you ever hear the Go song? Oh man, have you ever heard the Go song?
No.
If you have not heard the Go song, put in Adam Sandler the Go song, and it's about a goat that's tied to a truck, right? And he's owned by an alcoholic farmer who got ripped off by his wife. And he says, there's a line that he says, when I got home, it's like the farmer said, I'm leaving you for your brother because he fucks me better. And it's like, his eyes filled with sadness. And he turns around and he beats the goat, like, to get out of bail. But the goat gets off one night and he goes out and goes to a pub. Right? And it's the story of this long thing. And I remember me mate Dean Donnelly coming up with it and being like, this is brilliant. But it's a song about a goat being tied to a truck, man.
Yeah, to make that funny, like.
And an alcoholic farmer, and it's kind of like, when you listen to it, that's deep.
And he can fucking sing as well.
Man, he can sing. Yeah, and he has a good few songs.
He did something with Miley Cyrus on Jimmy Fallon there. I think after one of the terrorist attacks in America, or after one of the, there was a shooting, I think the shooting in Vegas. He went to him and Miley Cyrus did a song there. Look it up on YouTube, and you're like, Adam Sandler's got a fucking voice. He's playing the guitar. Good. You know?
He reminds me of Robin Williams or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you can imagine him as like a wacky scientist trying to find funny stuff in the room, you know what I mean?
He's probably touching 50 now, so when I'd interviewed him, he was fairly chill, you know, but I think I'd say in his younger days he was wild, you know. He's family man, kids, you know, sitting there in tracksuit bottoms, didn't give a fuck, you know.
I love that. That's what you want. Like, you know what I mean? He's just a normal dude.
Yeah, and he was obsessed with Ireland as well. Like, loved Ireland, because he's Jewish guy from Boston, but all his mates are Irish. So he was like, he came over. A lot of these guys, when they come to Dublin, they come over for a couple of days just to do interviews. He fucking come over and stayed for 2 weeks. His name is Schneider went down to the piss, you know, and all the lads, David Spade and stuff, you know.
That would be a session of an interview. I've seen one of your interviews, and I have to say, I felt sorry for you. You were interviewing, now, some of the girls out there mightn't have Channing Tatum. Yeah. And man, how hard was that?
Our girlfriend Joe actually loves him as well. Like,
all girls
everybody
does.
Yeah. He's really nice now. I think I've interviewed him 3 times at this stage. He's from the South in America. He's got that real Southern gentleman, you know. Yeah. Puts his hand out to shake your hand. And the last time we interviewed him was with Jonah Hill, who's not as nice.
Is that the blonde girl in the interview?
Jonah Hill. You know,
Jonah Hill. The worst at names and stuff.
He's in Superbad and like
great
actor. Fucking brilliant actor.
The one I seen was
Wolf
actually
of Wall Street
with,
and stuff as well.
I can't remember who.
Amanda Seyfried.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a fucking terrible interview.
This is the one I was watching.
Oh, Jesus. You picked a bad one. Fucking hell.
Well, the two of them high or something, man. Because the two of them look like.
Yeah, do you know what?
They weren't looking at it, and I was like.
I remember that Junker. That Junker was in London, right? For a film called Dear John, which is the most fucking forgettable film like ever, right? But Channing Tatum had just come back from a nap. he was walking into the room, and he was really polite when he was walking. He was like, "Oh, fucking whatever." He's just waking up because he jet lagged. And he turned around, he was like, "How's it going, man?" And I was like, walked into the room, came in. Amanda Seyfried's, who's like a popular actor as well. She was just, they were just over the film. That happens a lot where the film will come out a couple of months beforehand in America. They're working on other stuff. They probably shot it a year ago. And it's not personal. I didn't blame it at all. I didn't blame them at all. But then Tatum prepped up. He'd been in Dublin for a couple of weeks to make a Steven Soderbergh movie, with Michael Fassbender. Gina Carano, actually, the movie with Gina Carano.
Oh, really?
And he'd been here for a couple of weeks, and he fucking loved it. He was like, so he popped, kind of spiced up talking about that. And that's a lot of the time the challenge is, you sometimes you might have 5 minutes, sometimes you might have 20 minutes, depending on what you're doing. And it's getting people to engage with you in that period of time. It's tricky, because you have to ask about the film because they're promoting the film. And then it's like, well, how can I get something here that somebody else hasn't gotten, and engage them and have a fucking human conversation with them? It's not always easy.
Loads without that, even with this, you know what I mean? Trying to figure it out, because no one wants to be listening. Like, we want to be listening to a conversation. Yeah. That's kind of the main thing. I started listening to podcasts and getting into podcasts, and now I'm kind of, I listen to mad stuff. I could be listening to anything. Yeah. But it has to be engaging, as you're saying. Well, you find that question that pops.
And I think that's probably why this podcast is popular. That's why Joe Rogan's like the biggest thing in the world. That's a movement.
Is this popular?
Fucking I've heard people talking about No Shame.
Do you know what I heard?
Robin, I heard everything.
Someone messaged me the other day and said, "I love Robin."
Oh.
Someone loves Robin.
You could.
That was probably my mom.
You could be an influencer, Robin. Get some free shit sent here.
No, don't hear Robin. We put influencers. We have a closet for them, right? And we put them in places.
And take the free stuff first.
Especially when it's like stupid shit. You obviously see that as well. We won't go too long. But influencers now. How do you feel about these famous influencers? I like good ones.
Yeah, there are good ones. Exactly, they're good and bad everything. But I think it's just the evolution of entertainment. Like if you look at. I think it was Gary V was chatting, and Gary Vaynerchuk, who's a big entrepreneur, was on Joe Rogan's podcast, and he was talking about, not influencers, but he talked about radio and TV in the 40s and the 50s. So when in America, when like radio was the biggest thing ever, 30s, 20s, 30s, 40s, like the wireless, exactly, but then TV started taking off in like whatever the 50s, and it was this new thing. And people in radio, you see, and Gary V was saying, you very rarely saw people from radio and TV, because people in radio look down on TV. They were like, "Oh, what's this new fucking thing?" And now there's an element of that. I think with the influencer stuff, I think there's really talented people who are very funny, who are just talented, and this is a platform for them to show their talent.
100%.
And then there are people just fucking, I don't know, buy this thing, look at this thing, and it's a living for them, you know. And but there's a responsibility with having a following.
Do you know who's a very good one? I actually had him on the podcast. Give me his name again. The bodybuilder.
Oh yeah, Blessing,
yeah. Have you Blessing? Did you know him?
No.
He's like trying to be Mr. Olympia. He is, but like I watched some of his stuff, man. I'm not messing. He does this stuff with like protein. He'd be in a bath with like tubs of protein poured all over him, and like he's a bodybuilder, and he's like, or he's going to the gym and he's getting like like he'd have pizzas all over the bed, like 20 Domino's pizzas and stuff like that, like and like Domino's is obviously giving a little thing out of that, and then he'd have like a pre-workout and he'd be like smashing it into his face and stuff like that and all, and he does little KO videos. Great, absolutely brilliant.
It's entertaining.
It's entertaining. It's like its own television channel. Now I know that Instagram as well. That I wonder who's going to jump on that and make that creative. Yeah. The idea of having your own channel. Yeah. Because people have their own channels on it now. So like I reckon telly's probably on.
Telly's 100% on the way out. Like traditional TV is fucking, and you know what it is? It's because now people can listen to long form conversations, learn more about people. Like on a podcast like No Shame, or a podcast like the Joe Rogan Experience, or any of the ones I've done, and the goal of it is to be a natural conversation and to learn more and see people in their natural environment. Whereas if you watch even the fucking news now, and journalism's in a fucking strange place, and I'm saying this as somebody who's edited a couple of big publications, and journalism's in, and I never would have considered myself a proper journalist at all. It was fucking content aggregation.
There's a lot of control in that.
Yeah, like I mean, like now, like I was listening to something really recently, and they were talking about how it was Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin on Dave Rubin's podcast, where they were kind of saying, look, in an ideal world, you pay X amount of journalists, like a small number of journalists, great money. You pay them $200,000 a year, and they are then fucking great elite journalists. Like you'd have any sports person now.
Anyone 100,000,
yeah,
I'll build your hand.
Yeah, exactly. But now there's so many. And it became a race to the bottom of clickbait. And look, I had a part in that. I was the fucking editor of Joe.ie when it was blowing up, and it was trial by fire with me, and kind of learning as I go.
Damn you,
and I
Mike.
certainly, I know, and I fucking certainly made some mistakes. But and now with social media, it's everything's 240 characters, or it was 140 characters. So nobody gives a fuck about nuance anymore. There's a brilliant documentary as a politician called Anthony Weiner. And he's obviously turned out to be a different kind of scumbag or whatever. But the documentary at the time when it came out, he was married to one of Hillary Clinton's top aides. And he was a politician. He was a very popular politician, very good politician, very gifted politician, and that he could speak to people on a level that made them understand. He was just a good communicator. But he was sending dick pics on fucking Twitter, and this stuff, right? But he had at this point he hadn't done anything wrong. When he
sent a dick pic on Twitter.
Lots of fucking people have. You get
Do you know what? I've probably never sent a dick pic. Have you sent a dick pic?
Fuck no. I don't even like looking at it myself.
No, yeah, I'm like,
look at it.
I couldn't I'm gonna send you a picture of this.
Like
monster.
Like our context too. You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck?
I'm going to see a conversation. You know the way you see the screenshots of the conversation where someone sends a dick pic and it's like, oh, a dick, deadly. What's your name? You know?
Yeah. Just roll with it as it comes in. But obviously,
is this what happened?
This is what happened to him. And his career is completely derailed because of his own fucking his own stupid shit.
For the dick pic.
But they made the documentary. The documentary was called Weiner because the second name is Anthony Weiner.
Oh, brilliant.
So the documentary crew are following this lad around, and they're like, why? Like, because all this shit's going on. Well, like he's going to run for mayor to be mayor of New York, and he's just getting all this other shit's coming out then. And the guys making the documentary are like, why are you letting us film this? Like, what the fuck, But at a certain point, he said something really, really smart that resonated. Somebody said to him, like, look, you sent a kind of a picture of your knob to somebody on Twitter, and they went and they did sold it, wherever, sold the story and stuff like that. You really didn't do anything horrific. It was inappropriate, but you didn't. It's like, why do you think that you've become this fucking derided figure? And he goes, because there's no nuance in social media, and I have a funny second name. And I thought, that is so true.
That's gold.
And that always stuck with me, that particularly on social media, there's no nuance. So you have to be so careful about what you put out there or arguing with people, because there's only so much context you can give in X amount of characters.
And that's explain yourself. Yeah.
And that's why podcasts in particular, or long form conversations, are taking off, because I think there's a reflex to that. And the reflex of that is, I want context. I want to hear conversation. If people say something stupid, I want to hear them, oh, actually I meant this, and instead of just pulling these quotes and using them as headlines.
I think that's a great. So Shane, who kind of was in with the podcast as well, owns the Limor app. So the Limor app is like kind of like Facebook, but it's like social. So it's audio. So it's kind of like you could talk to somebody. So I think what you're saying there, that's maybe going to be an evolution in the way of context.
Yeah.
Because when you're writing something, I've wrote a few things and look back at them and going, oh, I shouldn't, that looks everything. It could look racist, it could look at it, but you never mean it that. But the idea of, I know my tone of voice, if I say some people, they laugh. But if you said it in a different tone of voice, it could be very offensive.
That's it. And it's
you don't get to bring your voice across.
Yeah, there's no, and people just need to be more aware of it, I suppose, and there's a brilliant book by a guy called John Ronson called Now You've Been Publicly Shamed, and it's about these stories. He's a fucking brilliant writer and journalist. He did The Men Who Stare at Ghosts. Do you remember that film with George Clooney a few years ago? But just a brilliant journalist, really smart man. And he was telling this story. He tells the story in the book about this woman who was a big PR person in New York. And she was getting on a flight. She was getting on a flight from somewhere in America to South Africa. So it's a long, long flight, or somewhere in Africa. And she tweeted. She didn't have that many followers, a couple of hundred followers. And she tweeted, going to Africa, about to board a flight to Africa, hope I don't get AIDS. Only joking, I'm white, LOL. So she tweeted that out. Not funny. She's not a comedian. She shouldn't have done it, right? But it got retweeted by somebody on fucking BuzzFeed or Vox or something like that. By the time she landed in South Africa, her career was over. It was over, or she was ruined. And she was vilified everywhere because of one tweet that she shouldn't have really sent, but didn't have to. But at the same time, is it worth destroying this woman's life over? She made a stupid joke that wasn't that funny.
People say stupid things.
Exactly, and it's like, well, where's the end game here? What do they go to jail for this? What's the punishment? And that's the problem in the court of public opinion. There is no.
And you know what it is, and the same thing. And the idea is that you're being butchered and you're being slayed by people there that are probably. And I'm not going to say it, but they're probably not the greatest people in society. Now,
Exactly.
some of them, but you've got guys that like they're probably sitting home getting pissed all day, or you know what I mean. They probably beat their wife. You know what I
Yeah.
mean. But they're telling like all of these things that you'll have people going, shame on you. Because you put yourself out there in a way.
yeah,
You know.
yeah. It's. I mean, there's an element of self-awareness.
I won't say
with it,
less.
you know.
I won't say people
Yeah.
less than you, but people that definitely shouldn't be judging other people.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's
I've
it.
seen
It's
pe-
hypocrisy. It's 100%
Yeah, I've
hypocrisy.
seen people writing stuff and it being like, that's kind of what's it? The kettle calling the pot black.
Yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
you flat out know somebody's lying, but their public persona is a different. It's just a different thing entirely. You know.
A great post I seen the other day. Well, you on there? Ready, Rob?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go through some American stuff.
Always
as well.
stay ready, Paddy.
Okay, always stay ready. But I'll finish on this. The idea is, I seen somebody saying about couples that are together and they love each other and they're all great. But then when they break up, you never see it on social media, or it's the opposite way around. Or people that really, really love each other and they're always there. But somebody had put a post up saying, little do I know that such and such is down with such and such up the road, but I won't mention any names. But they're always on like lovey-dovey on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are you even benefiting from reading that? You know what I mean? That you know a couple on your social media that are always lovey, but for the fact you know one of them is ripping the other one off.
What do you get from that?
What?
Like, you know
Why
I mean?
would you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
comment on that in your status? No names, and obviously you look at it like what attracts. Who is it? Go on private mail and stay at home, you know. And all of a sudden, this just becomes a conversation about how to. Maybe, and you mightn't even be ripping each other off. You don't know. They could butcher each other, butcher
Yeah.
the person and the relationship there.
You can ruin lives.
I think with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
If you must, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like we've said this as well. I could have, like, say if Kim Kardashian decided that Robin over there was a prick, you know what I mean? She could just say Robin that does the No Shame podcast party is a prick, and that's it. It's done.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's bang on. I vouch for you, Robin. But you know what I mean? It's the
Yeah.
power thing. Someone can ruin somebody
Yeah.
now today by just deciding using a power position.
Yeah, exactly, and like that is true, and like it is great power does come with great responsibility, or even a following. You know, like if you've got a following, you can destroy somebody, and you can everything. Context is fucking everything. Intent is everything about what people. I mean, that doesn't mean you can't get offended, but at the same time, where is this coming from? Is it coming from a place of hate? Is it coming from a place of ignorance? Can this person be educated? Are they just a fucking idiot? There's a
Yeah.
fair bit of that as well.
Yeah,
you
that's
know? But even then, it's like, well, you know, like what have they done really on the greater scale of things here that's wrong? And hypocrisy is when it gets fucking really frustrating.
That
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah.
Because I hate that. I hate seeing people that, like, as I said, are in a position that definitely should not be saying that.
Yeah.
That they
A lot of
shouldn't.
politicians really more than that else.
Stop. What did your woman say? Oh, I can't remember. I seen a tweet as well the other day and it round me. It did. Oh, God. Rob, what was trip to America like? I can't remember my woman's name.
Yeah, it was brilliant. We was over there with the company we work for. In San Diego for the large part of it. We were at a big event with US Soccer. Yeah, we signed a deal with them back in January.
Robin works for the company that, you know, the tracking, the GPS
Stat
tracking
Sports,
for the
yeah.
jerseys.
Saying
Yes.
that's where all the rugby lads are using.
Oh, the rugby
them
lad.
now.
Yeah.
Remember your man in the Dublin match?
Yeah.
True that. That's the most famous one, the best, as I say,
Yeah.
about the
Yeah.
best advertising you could ever got. Did you ever see that? The guy was
Yeah.
taking the last kick in
Yeah.
Dublin when he took it off his jersey. As he was doing it.
Everybody like, what the fuck is that?
He
That's,
threw it at
you
him.
work
That
with
was
them,
what-
wherever the fuck that is.
One of them, yeah.
That's typically not how we'd recommend to use the device. Like,
Robin's boss had paid him, like, Miller at him, right, when he's
Yeah.
going there. Make sure that the logo's shining.
yeah. You see, the thing is, we worked with Mayo as well, so like, it was
Conflicted.
Dublin and Mayo. We worked with the two of them, so
I
yeah.
like it. Yeah. How do we make money off this? Work with all of them.
I know.
Good man.
But yeah, we're doing that for US Soccer, so I was just over like filming some behind the scenes stuff.
What did you eat over there that was absolutely amazing?
Mexican, a lot of Mexican food in San Diego.
Yeah, a lot of it. Maybe not the healthiest Mexican food because, I mean, you're at the event for most of the day, but they just have a tent full of food for everyone that's working at it. Like, and you just help yourself. Like, so they had like Chipotle were doing a stand there, so they'd send us stuff every day and like all that stuff. And to be honest, I was just loading up on Pop-Tarts.
Pop-Tarts. I've not had a Pop-Tart in years.
I know.
experiencing the American culture.
Yeah.
Pop-Tarts.
Yeah.
You gotta have great responsibility, as you were saying. Great power, great responsibility.
Yeah.
Careful of Pop-Tart on the lip, man. You've got a bit of Pop-Tart in the lip.
Burnt.
Man, it blister you for a week.
Yeah.
Crashed another drone, which is...
Did you?
Yeah, it just fell out of the sky.
Did it went too far? Went out.
But the first round I had...
That's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
That was you over
It
there,
is a
and Trump was
conspiracy.
lasing
Someone
that
shot it
down.
down. Yeah. I'd love to know what actually happened there, because like the first one I had flew out to sea on its own
He was
accord.
left on his own.
Just on its own accord.
Fuck,
Just I was recording something, lost full.
Was there a camera on it?
Yeah.
You lost the camera?
Yeah. Well, no, it was like a built-in like camera.
Right.
Yeah. So I had no control over it. Just flew straight out to sea, gone, never to be seen.
He loved this drone, Mike. He absolutely loved it.
To be fair to the company, they sent me and I sent off my flight records. They were like, "Yeah, that's not supposed to happen." So they sent me a new one. Like, so that was good. This one now I have to wait and see if they'll send me another one. I think they're gonna start.
Did this one just blow up? Like
just fell straight out of the sky, like. Because I had it up and I had a crowd around me, and I was like, "Wait till you see this thing. This is brilliant. Watch this feature here." And just as I pressing a few buttons, it just dropped straight out of the sky and smashed. And someone was like, "The drone," and I looked up, but it was on the ground. Like, it was like you looked up, what's there? Looked on the ground, like just bits everywhere.
Do you reckon you can go to jail if your drone hits someone in the head?
Of
the
course.
thing now as well, with people like fucking putting drones over backyards with people sunbathing and all, but man, creepy. Yeah.
You're not supposed to do that.
Doing that?
They don't recommend you do that, and also you.
No perverts are allowed after drones.
Don't mind me, you little Mike on it.
Flying over.
That's a weird one, isn't it?
You're not supposed to fly it over people. You're not supposed to fly it over water. But I mean, the drone laws. It's like it is like kind of Wild West times with the drone, because it's such a new technology, and there's basic laws there, and like some countries there's a lot of loopholes.
Here's one thing we was saying, like, how have the police not copped on and used drones? Like, why don't they sit at the edge of a housing estate and just have a good drone that drives around and just watches everything that goes on?
That's like a police state stuff though, isn't it? Like you'd see something in like
that's Big
the
Brother,
future where there's like Blade Runner type shit going around.
See, they do that. There's cameras everywhere. They just don't have them flying. Like, but like.
I think if a guard could sit in a guard car and one of them could drive a drone around and the other ones could drive on patrol, like how much and there was a way of like signaling it or something like that, you know what I mean? For like, wouldn't that be a great idea?
I think the guard stuff's funny because you're like I'd have, because obviously they're not armed here. There's only so much they can do when there's like just one or two guards, or you go to the police for help. Obviously somebody does a crime or whatever. The office broken.
There's not a guard in this country that could arrest you, Mike. That's for sure.
But this is funny because a few years ago in the old Entertainment.ie offices on Great Strand Street, which are fucking ropey old street at the best of times, bang in the middle of town. It's actually in Dublin Old School, in the film Dublin Old School. They walk right past the office. But anyway, somebody broke into the office. I'd gone off for a couple of hours one evening, came back, office door was kicked in, just stole my shit, which was a bit fucking weird. My desk was way at the back on the editorial floor. Bike, wash bag, all really strange thing, left cameras and stuff, didn't take that, so maybe they were interrupted or whatever. But I came into the office, noticed that was broken into. One Friday evening, I took first thing I always do is took my watch off. I'm like, right, if these fuckers are still here, I'm not breaking my watch on the head. Took my watch off my wallet, put it on the desk, called the guards. Guards came, these two guards came, sound blokes, doing their job. We're like, you wait here. And they were going looking around for whoever to see if they were still there. And I was kind of going, like, you're not armed or anything, so what? Like, it's a mad job because somebody could come at them with a knife and there's fuck all they can do about it, really.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's I just think it's mental that you're going to these people for help, and they can always call for backup and stuff, but it's a perilous fucking job to be in, to be that kind of first responder.
100%. Did you see? I seen a video of two guards trying to arrest him, and there's loads of them out there, but there's one guy and he's clearly losing. You know what I mean? He has him around the waist on a body lock, but the guy is sitting on his head, Mike, right? But he won't let go of the body lock, the guard, and the other one's trying to pull him off his head, and it's just like. It's just like
just holding on for
I've
back.
seen comments on it, and there's like, I know 15-year-old girls that could arrest both these Garda and your man at the same time,
and they'd be asleep by the time they're in the back of the Mariah.
Like, I don't know how they haven't gone into the jiu-jitsu kind of way. Now I taught Garda teams and stuff like that. I had the rugby team and all that, I had in for a while and teaching them, and they were getting on great with it. But the idea is like, if you can get to a blue, every guard should nearly be a blue belt.
But you see and that's it now as well, especially with the grappling stuff, because it's like, like whatever, people get aggro with a few drinks on them that shouldn't drink or whatever. Some people are just fucking aggro and just scumbags or whatever. It's like my biggest fear now is Like, and like my girlfriend Jo says this to me as well, where it's like I'd worry about the person.
This is one of his other girlfriends.
This is one of my other girlfriends. She'll fucking kill me.
I know.
But she's.
How many girlfriends have you got?
But she was like, I'd worry about the person. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'd worry about the person. I'm not worried about getting beaten up. You know, like I'm worried about hurting somebody or something. But then when with something like jiu-jitsu, and I'm not fucking great at jiu-jitsu by any means, but you can disarm people, or you can get calm people to fuck, then you could certainly put somebody asleep in a couple of minutes. Do you know what I mean? Where you're like, right, nobody's really been hurt here. The situation is diffused, you know?
There's a great Ryan Hall, did you ever see Ryan Hall?
Yeah, Ryan Hall's a legend.
Great, and he doesn't look like...
There was a fight in a restaurant or something.
A guy comes over and he's been a dude and he chokes him out cold.
Ryan Hall's a small little fella, you wouldn't like...
That's what I'm saying, he doesn't look aggressive. Yeah. And as I said, jiu-jitsu is a scary little thing. We've a youth population of males and females, but I always say, especially to the females, that it creates the idea that you're getting a skill, you'll always be able to defend yourself. It's probably one of the best things you could use to get you in shape. It's a lot of hip movement, a lot of core work, it's a lot of... And I have another kid here as well, Keen his name is, and like he put a picture up the other day, and you don't see people disappear into what they are. Really good at jiu-jitsu now he is, but kid has a six-pack now, started off at 82 kilo, I think he's like into the 60 kilos now, 2 years of training. Probably caught it at a good time in his life as well, because you know yourself, you can kind of slip into your 20s and you go down that road. But like, incredible.
But can you imagine some gobshite messing with Limor Court or something like that?
This is yes,
thrown the fucker across the room. You know, like,
she would throw you until you died.
Yeah.
Like.
I've seen them all lads in the gym. She's unbelievable. Yeah.
I had her on.
Yeah, I saw you had
She's
Leon.
an absolute legend.
She's an unbelievable fighter. Like, and just
great person as well.
Yeah. I don't know her that well. I've never moved around her or anything like that, but I've watched her training when I've been up in the gym. And she's...
I sparred her once. And yeah, she hip trailed me.
Yeah, she's like, don't get too close or you're going to end up...
yeah, that's what I was like, oh! That's what that felt like.
That judo's ridiculous.
She's very good. I'm going to wrap this up now because I like to teach at 12 o'clock. Go out here and teach people how to strangle people. What a job. What a job.
What a job of
Kids,
a Wednesday morning,
stay in school. No, but listen, if you're out there and you're ginger, get some of that sun cream stuff on. Don't be messing around. Don't go to shop. Don't take any risks. Yeah. Seriously, Mike, absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Mel Paddy. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Conversation. And I enjoyed just saying that it's a popular podcast.
It is a very popular podcast.
If you get a little chance, go to the Instagram and follow No Shame Cast. This one's going to be out today, so you listen to it today, live, and everything's happening at the same time. Yeah. Peace out.